Good evening, everybody. RJ here, and I'm here with one of the minions, WR Costin.
Hey, RJ, how are you doing?
Not too bad. How about yourself?
Oh, pretty good. Uh, Thank you for inviting me for a little chat.
No problem. Was planning on doing a test, and I thought, why not shoot the shit?
Yeah, I'm not sure if
Although,
I. What? Go ahead.
oh, you,
Go ahead.
but I do have one little call out to Ranting Monkey. Hey, Monkey, just because you think racing is not a sport doesn't mean it's not one.
Uh, yeah, Demolition Derby is definitely a sport.
Especially NASCAR, Formula One, IndyCar. There's so many of them. Yet Monkey has not been behind the wheel.
Hmm. Uh, I think we should put Ranting Monkey into a Demolition Derby.
That would be funny for a guy who drives a minivan.
Uh, oh, well, we'll find him an old beater.
Like an old Ford Falcon or a Ford
Yeah.
LDT Grand, oh, or an old Ford LDT LTD.
Yeah, it'll help him forget about all those pains that he already has right now.
Oh, what's even better? An old Ford Crown Victoria station wagon. Those are literal tanks.
Um, yeah.
Spe-
Um,
Especially if it was once a cop car.
yeah. Yeah, I believe that. Or my last car was a Kia Amante. Have you heard of those?
I
They're
think
full.
so.
Yeah. Uh, don't ever buy one. They rust up. They rust out too easily. Um, but when I got rid of that, it ended up going to a demolition derby guy.
Kia and Hyundai, they've cleaned themselves up in
Yeah.
recent years. I mean, look at the Stinger GT. That's actually a good looking car.
Yeah. This one was from 2004. I don't know if they changed their habits, but back then they were doing all kinds of cable things that collected water underneath in the undercarriage. So they got a lot of rusting out issues, which is what happened to that car.
I mean, you guys do get a lot more snow than we do in the South.
Yeah. In North American cars, they don't have coverings on their on all
Undercarriage.
their undercarriage. So when you got snow and ice, it doesn't build up and rot those cables out. Um, that happened in my car because, well, it's not just the snow and the ice; it's the sand. Not the sand, the ice. I'm not good. Salt, yes.
Road salt.
Snow, ice, sand, salt. It just builds up. It sits there.
And it rusts the car out.
Yes. The mechanic that did the work on that car, I bought this one used, and it was cheap, so I don't feel too ripped off. But he was saying that these Kias and a few other foreign makes of cars were bad for rusting out because they had all kinds of little spots for the snow and the sand and the salt and all that shit to accumulate.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, if they use cheap steel, it's gonna rust.
Yeah. And like you said, over time they've gotten better, but this was not from the very start of Kia's introduction to Canada, but pretty close. They were still doing they still had some of their bad habits back then.
I mean, some of Kia's first cars, well, they were just partnerships with Ford.
Yeah.
I mean, that's how they got their logo.
Oh, it is very similar to
Ford's.
yeah.
I mean, the Kia Pride overseas was badged over here as the Ford Festiva.
Yeah. Yeah, I can see the similarities.
I mean, it was essentially our version of the Mini. Although, you have to be English to like a Mini.
Yeah.
Well, an original Mini, since they handle well.
Yeah.
Although, this coming weekend at Talladega, I'm looking forward to seeing Richard Childress bring back one of Dale Sr.'s old race cars. In fact, it was his last winning race car.
Oh, that's cool.
As the pace car. Never seen an old Winston Cup car used as a pace car before, but there's always a first time for everything, right?
Yeah, I don't watch a lot of racing, but sure. It's good to see them come back for reuse anyway.
Oh yeah, I mean, you can still use an old classic NASCAR stock car as a track car long after it's been retired. I mean, with me in NASCAR, it's just how I grew up with the sport, you know, during its heyday. But what NASCAR has done in recent years, chasing the casual fans, what's going to keep your sport alive is the hardcore fans. Casual fans, they're just going to stick around for a while and then move on.
Yeah.
I mean, some of the changes they made don't make sense to me. The stages, those are just, I don't know, manufactured cautions.
Yeah.
I mean, they were supposed to make the races shorter, but they've done the complete opposite.
Yeah. How? Okay. So the NASCAR race stages, instead of doing 500 miles at once, they break it up somehow, or how does that work?
They usually break it up into separate stages, you know, depending on the track and how long the race is.
Okay.
You know, it could be as much as pretty much with the Coca-Cola 600, they have to break it up into stages every 100 laps. And
Okay.
that's a 600-mile race, one of the longest races on the schedule.
Okay. What's the
Although,
yeah, go ahead.
although one of the changes they've been considering, removing pit stops from the Xfinity and Truck Series. And I gotta ask, what sane person made that suggestion?
Removing pit stops?
Yeah, because you only have so much fuel and tires that you have to come in at least once or
Yeah.
multiple times.
I thought that was I thought that was part of the strategy to
It is.
determine when you take a pit stop. How do you keep on the road? You know what?
I mean, after Brian France got booted from the sport and how he got booted from the sport, it was not all that funny. He essentially got arrested for DUI, twice over the legal limit, and had oxycodone. Ooh, I mean,
Was this
Have-
during a race or on the street?
on the road, it was
Yeah.
hours after Chase Elliott got his first Cup win.
Yeah.
I mean, we as fans have been waiting for that for months, literally years, and then some dumbass, the CEO and chairman of NASCAR, has to ruin it.
Yeah.
That doesn't make him look good,
No.
actually. Oh, and at the time he was leaving a Trump rally. I'm not pushing the blame on Donald. Ooh, I don't think he's dumb enough to do that.
No. He's not as dumb as Trudeau.
Yeah, Trudeau, he's pretty dumb.
I'll trade you Trudeau for Trump any day. Well, maybe not in the next couple of weeks because we're going to be getting rid of Trudeau, but
Yeah, you guys have an election a year before we do, so
yeah.
Although I've heard about the candidates, one of them being possibly related to Lily Singh and Jagmeet Singh. You guys, if you've heard of far left candidates,
Yeah.
he's very far left.
Yes, he is. He's the leader of what we call the New Democratic Party.
Oh yeah,
The Liberals are supposedly our centrist party, and then we got the Conservatives on the left. And now this is Canada. Canada right are the Conservatives. Canada center are the Liberals. And then you got the Canada left, which is the NDP.
when the Liberals are just as far left, well, just as
They're
left
pretty-
as
Yeah. And they're all pretty left, so. Well, Canadian politics in general is left of American politics, so.
yeah. But essentially, to me, you guys are just, well, I don't know, an official American territory.
Hey, we're going to take you guys over. We're just, this is just part of our plan to lull you into a fake sense of security. You don't know about all our secret armaments up in the Arctic. Global warming is part of our plan to free those armaments up to take over the world and make me the first Terran emperor.
Obvious joke is obvious.
Good joke. Yeah. Omegon thinks he's going to destroy the world in 2020, but I'm just going to take it over, united under the Terran world empire, and say bye-bye. Bye-bye, Trudeau. Bye-bye, Omegon. Bye-bye. What?
Although J.J. McCullough actually called Justin's father a gargoyle.
I can see that. The thing with Pierre Elliott Trudeau, he was ugly as fuck, and he still managed to charm the ladies. Justin Trudeau is a pretty face with a bunch of money.
Oh yeah.
Now understand, Pierre Trudeau was a second generation wealthy person. His father earned all that money. Pierre Trudeau, he worked for a living as an actual lawyer, but he didn't earn the wealth. He
inherited it.
He inherited the wealth, but he still worked for a living.
Exactly.
And then you got Justin Trudeau, who's a complete idiot, which is sadly following the tradition for many multi-generation families. The first one makes all the money, the second one keeps it, and the third one
destroys it.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think he's actually destroying his wealth, but he's showing what an idiot he is. So,
I mean, we say that about most of the leftist candidates that are trying to run for president.
Yeah.
I mean, ugh. I mean, they're trying to get Donald Trump impeached. What are you guys trying to get him impeached for?
Yeah. I think that's going to go the same way that Bill Clinton's impeachment went. They'll get the impeachment through. It won't go through. I think it's the Senate that does the actual trial.
Yeah, it's the Senate.
They won't actually get it through the Senate. Maybe they'll catch them on some stupid, unrelated lie that's unrelated to the actual impeachment charges. Like Bill Clinton, I think lost his license as a lawyer because he got caught perjuring himself over Monica Lewinsky, didn't he? Like,
Yeah, I think so.
he shouldn't have even been asked about that. Had nothing to do with what he was impeached over. I don't think it's gonna go like with Richard Nixon, where he says, "Oh, gee, they might get this through," and he leaves. So, which would be the best case for the Democrats. So you've caught some of JJ McCullough's videos, did you?
Oh yeah, he's not a bad journalist. He's okay.
Yeah.
But
yeah, I wouldn't call him a journalist. He's more of a. He does opinion pieces and stuff, right?
From what I've seen, yeah.
Yeah. But still, I think he helps. I think he helps. His stuff, it helps explain things to people, though.
About Canada, pretty much about Canada, because
Yeah.
essentially there aren't too many differences between our two countries.
No, culturally anyway.
I mean,
Right.
I mean, essentially, we're just basically sister countries at this rate.
Well, I mean, there's differences, but keep in mind that most of Canada is within a couple hundred miles of the U.S. border. So,
Oh yeah.
um,
I mean, you all are scrunched up near the border because I don't know, Canada's a frozen tundra.
yeah, up north kind of sucks. Like in BC, it's kind of like Seattle, Manitoba, Alberta, Saskatchewan. That'd be like your Midwest, the prairie. We call them the prairie provinces.
I know a little bit about Canada.
Yeah.
Since some of my friends are from there.
Yeah, and of course, Ontario, is very close to Michigan, New York. The busiest border crossing is across the Detroit River, Windsor, Detroit.
And Niagara Falls.
Yeah.
Just don't go over in a barrel over Niagara Falls.
Yeah, I wouldn't want to do that.
You'd have to be really stupid to do that.
I can't believe that people actually have to be told not to do that.
Especially if they're cuckoo.
Yeah. You don't have to tell me not to go over Niagara Falls in a barrel.
I mean, at least I'll give Windsor one thing. They didn't go bankrupt like Detroit.
No. And they're basically got the same kind of economy as Detroit. It's an auto sector town, just like Detroit. So I really don't know what Detroit's excuse is.
The big three.
Yeah.
Although with some of the car companies, the only one that didn't go through bankruptcy was Ford.
Yeah.
I mean, with GM, they sold off their European divisions, Opel and Vauxhall, to the French, Peugeot and Citroën, who announced a return to the U.S. market in the next few years. Peugeot, Citroën, they sell cars in Mexico, so they're not that far off from us.
No.
And they can't be driven in the United States, but for a limited time. Like 6 months.
Yeah. No, these are European cars?
Yeah, French.
Yeah. Oh, French, yeah. Have you ever driven any of these cars?
Not yet. I'm hoping to get my license in the future. And if I do get a car, it's going to be with a manual. I'm not going to stick with some sissy automatic.
No.
I mean, the manual transmission, pretty much one of the reasons why it's been dying. I don't know. We've gone too damn lazy with our shifting.
Yeah.
I mean, you guys have paddle shifters for a reason, yet you don't use them.
What's a paddle shifter?
Oh, it allows you to shift gears up and
Okay.
down the box.
Okay, yeah.
It's like a game controller, you know.
Yeah.
Although you're piloting a ton of metal.
Yeah. They're even starting to get automatic transmissions in big trucks these days. Like the tractor trailers these days.
Oh yeah.
I know a few truckers, and these are like old time truckers who've done it for a living, and they talk about how much of a relief it is.
Personally, I think shifting your own gears is more fun.
Yeah.
Going down through the revs.
Yeah.
I mean, I've done it in a race simulator, just not in an actual car.
Yeah.
Although there's one gearbox I don't like, and that's CVTs. They're
Yeah.
so synthetic feeling. I mean, it's a gearbox, yet it doesn't have actual gears. It's just metal belts at the end of the day.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I've never had the opportunity to learn on a manual, so
Yeah.
I
mean, there are still manufacturers that will offer manual transmissions. Like, I mean, even Subaru still offers them.
yeah.
Even though some of the newer 5-speeds, they're okay, but they're bulletproof.
Yeah.
I mean,
Okay.
up in your neck of the woods, you guys always prefer all-wheel drive. For better grip
Yeah.
through the snow and slush.
Yeah. I'm kind of lucky. Well, now that I'm not working, if there's a really bad snowstorm, I just stay home. But there's been a few days where I couldn't even get out of my driveway. I'd have to be at work in the next city by 7 a.m. So I'd be out of my apartment at 6, and like in my car. It's like a 20-minute drive, 15-minute drive to where I worked. But it would take me like half an hour to clean my car off and get out of the driveway. It'd be that bad.
Yikes. I mean, if you've seen how we handle a snowstorm in the South,
Yeah.
you'd think you guys be crazy.
Yeah.
I mean, compared to you guys, well, we're just like ants in a snowstorm because it's so rare for us.
Yeah. Sometimes I think we don't take the snowstorms seriously enough. Like, there have been times when I've gone to work where I thought, you know what, maybe I should have waited a couple hours until the plows have done their work. Yeah. And then gone to work.
I mean, when I was a kid, there were days where I got canceled, school got canceled, and I'm thinking, snow day.
Yeah. I lived in town when I was in school, so and I went to a school in town, so school never did get canceled. Then I went to high school. Now that high school was at the edge of town, and that high school had a larger catchment area. All the town kids, but it also took a catchment from all the surrounding townships. So all the rural kids. They still did not close the school when it snowed, but they canceled the buses, so the rural kids didn't have to go to school. I had to walk clear across town, almost a mile, to get to school. But the kids who went to school on the bus didn't have to go. Now, mind you, those were easy days because, like, almost no one showed up. It's like half the teachers never made it because it's a small rural school, so half the teachers couldn't drive in either. So,
Yeah, I mean, if it were me, I would just say, yeah, you guys have the day off.
yeah. Well, and a lot of times that's what happened. Like, we showed up. I would show up and puff around a little bit, maybe get some of my projects done that I was behind on, and by the afternoon it'd be a beautiful day, and I'd walk home on a beautiful day. But that walk to school was crap, absolute crap, you know.
Mm-hmm. At least you guys had an easy day.
Yeah. And I think I could have probably on most of those days gotten away with not going to school, but yeah,
You didn't,
my
but you
mom
did.
would, no, my mom would shove me out the door as long as she could. So that was always a good thing. And then I got my license and a car. Yeah, because it's a small town, and I didn't really need a car because I was in town, but
It was nice.
yeah. So I ended up driving to school, and even when I was driving to school, I was better than in the country because, well, you're in town and the roads don't get that bad.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
What was your first car?
My first car was a Dodge Aries. Have you ever heard of the K-Car series?
Oh yes, that was the
Yeah.
same car Adam Ferrara got for his
Yeah.
first car, and guess how he got it?
How did he get it?
His grandfather died,
Huh. Yeah.
and he inherited it.
Yeah. Mine was a Dodge Aries, and they also had a Plymouth. I forget what the Plymouth badge was, but it was like the two were the exact same vehicle, but under the Dodge and Plymouth brands.
Yeah, that was at the time when they were in a partnership with Mitsubishi.
Yeah. My understanding was that the K car was basically it was supposed to save the company. I'm not sure of the exact details, but it was supposed to be like a mass production car.
Yeah, I mean, at the time, Lee Iacocca was running Chrysler.
Yeah.
Let's see. Let me look at it. I am a little bit of a geek here. Funny enough, when Chrysler bought out American Motors, guess why they bought it out? Just for the Jeep brand. They shut the rest of American Motors down, although the first blows were by Renault.
Yeah.
I mean, they weren't making their own cars up to that point.
No.
Chrysler, if American Motors were still producing their own cars at the time,
Yeah.
maybe Chrysler could have kept them around.
Yeah.
It was unfortunate, but
Yeah.
I don't blame Chrysler for the whole thing. They managed to save Jeep.
Yeah.
I mean, although I don't mind some of Jeep's current crops, although the Renegade underneath is a rebadged Fiat not 124, Fiat Panda 4x4, which is not a bad little crossover. You can still get a manual in that.
Yeah, that's interesting.
I mean, let's see. Although, but at least Dodge is still racing in motorsports. ugh, especially in the Canadian Tire Series. Well, formerly the Canadian Tire Series, now the Pinty Series.
Oh yeah.
I don't know what Pinty's really is. Is it like a family restaurant in Canada?
Pinty's, they do boxed chicken wings.
Ooh.
Yeah. I've never tried them.
Oh,
But,
wait a minute. Oh,
I think they're chicken wings in boxes, like they're frozen chicken wings.
Ah. Oh, and the Plymouth you were referring to was the Reliant.
Yes, the Reliant. Sister car to the Dodge Aries. Basically
And
the
that-
same model. Basically.
And it replaced the Dodge Aspen. Ooh. Although, funny thing about the Aries, in Mexico it carried the Dart badge.
Yeah.
That's an odd choice.
Hmm.
At least they brought back the neon. Well, it's not. Which.
Yeah.
That's just a newer. That's just a newer version of the Dart. Although
Yeah.
one of the versions of the Dart they had planned was an SRT version.
Yeah. I don't know if the neon was any good, but I liked the way it looked.
With its big eyes.
Yeah. I thought it was a cute vehicle.
It was a simple. It was a good starter car for rally.
Yeah.
Although the new versions, not bad looking. There was an SRT version, and those could smoke.
Is
Or
the
some-
neon? Oh, go ahead.
And those could actually burn some serious rubber.
Are they still in production?
Yeah, let's see, they brought it back in 2016. It's a rebadged Fiat Tipo for the Mexican market.
Cool.
Although I would call it El Stupido. Although I will never forgive Dodge for Chrysler for creating the PT Cruiser. Blech.
No, you didn't like the PT Cruiser?
Ugh, no.
I like the way the PT Cruiser looked. Again, I don't know if it was a good car or not, but
It wasn't.
No.
Sometimes it had reliability issues.
yeah.
Wait a minute.
Yeah.
The Dodge Neon's currently made in Turkey?
And Turkey.
That's one way to weird you out. Ooh. Ay, caramba. Let me
The last thing we need is for our wild poultry to be making our cars for us too.
Gobble, gobble, gobble.
Yeah, make our cars for us. Now, get in my belly.
Oh, man. I mean, with the car market, with so many cars not offered with manual transmissions these days, I hate to say it, we Americans, North Americans, have gotten lazy. Too lazy. I mean, less than 5% of cars sold in the US and Canada are manuals.
Yeah.
That's just crazy. I mean, BMW doesn't even offer a manual in any of the 3 Series outside the M3, M4 nowadays.
Yeah.
Yeesh. What do you think BMW stands for?
BMW, what does it stand for?
Yeah, and as a joke.
Oh. Better make way? No.
Big Mexican woman?
Beater. Peter May, no.
It's hard, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's not like the Pinto. Put in new transmission often.
Peter.
Or-
Yeah. Peter Meatwagon.
That was funny, actually.
Yeah.
Although, with the car market, how Quebec I've seen some of Quebec's car laws, and they just do not make sense to me. They're so different from the rest of the country. I mean, you guys can, for most parts of the country, you guys can import cars 15 years or newer. Quebec, you have to wait 25 years, same as the U.S.
Oh, really?
Quebec, yeah. I mean, Quebec, you're not a part of the U.S. You guys are a part of Canada.
That has got to be that is confusing to me. Yeah. Because
Has anything Quebec done been less confusing?
Quebec just yeah, it's Quebec just wants to be its own nation while being subsidized by the rest of Canada.
That just doesn't make sense.
No, they don't want to let there be English language signs. If you have English on their signs, it has to be tiny, and the French has to be huge. I don't.
Yeah,
Don't.
you don't.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
I know the fucking trade that goes on in Quebec. Although, with some of the custom license plates,
Yeah.
I've seen a Ford F-150 with the license plate of penis, a Honda Civic, well, actually a Mitsubishi Lancer with the custom tag of vagina, and a Honda Civic with uterus. What would happen if you crashed each of those cars together?
Oh. Well, a penis into a uterus. Well, that makes 3. What was the other one?
Vagina.
Oh, yes. The penis goes into the vagina to fertilize the uterus.
Essentially a pregnant joke
Yeah.
with cars. At least they have a sense of humor.
Of course.
What's more? Although I've seen some of Canada's car culture, and it's not bad.
Yeah.
A lot of the JDM cars you guys can have, ooh, I drool over. Skylines has the eye can see.
The Skyline?
Nissan Skyline,
Okay, yeah.
especially the GTRs. You know what? Famously, the R34 all the GTRs, their nickname is known as Godzilla. Well,
Okay. Why Godzilla?
because it dominated the racetrack.
That's a good reason.
At least it didn't spit fire.
Oh, that would be. Hey, I need that feature for my next vehicle. I don't have a car right now. I should list that as one of the features. That way, I can just melt my way out of the parking lot. Yeah, because it's not just the parking lot I have trouble getting out of. I'm on a bus route, but the driveway goes onto a little circle, and that serves like 3 driveways, like 3 parking lots for 3 different buildings. So the bus route that my apartment is technically on, it gets plowed pretty quickly because it's a bus route. But that little circle is one of the last places to get for the city to get plowed. So, and of course, don't mind me, the parking lot doesn't get plowed very quickly either. So, between the two of them, it can be pretty fun to get out of the out onto the plowed roads some days. But I don't have a car right now, so. And even if I did have a car, I think I've learned my lesson from driving around on those kind of crappy days way too many times that I'm only like across the street from a bus shelter, so maybe I'll just take the bus even if I do buy a car again.
Yeah.
I don't need to drive every day. I do have good access to public transit, and if the weather is that bad, maybe not go out at all, or let somebody else do the driving.
Someone more professional.
And who gets their roadways actually plowed pretty quickly. Well, relatively quickly. I mean, it can be, when you got to do the whole city, starting at like 5 or 6 in the morning, it can take a while for everything to get back to normal. Especially when they don't, especially when they shut down the plows after midnight often.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Well, if the storm's bad enough, it's like they keep the plows out long enough for everybody to get home from work, and then they just give up till morning, because usually by morning the snow starts to clear up a bit. Even if it hasn't stopped snowing, the weather is usually a lot better. So yeah.
I mean, for me, I never got the snow that often, but the 2003 snowstorm we got, ooh, being without power for days, stuck in bed, freezing cold, ooh, I wouldn't want to go through that again.
No.
I mean, the entirety of the East Coast got it that year.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Yeah. Where I live, it's actually among 4 of the 5 Great Lakes. So if they're not frozen over, we get a lot of lake effect snow on top of it. So that usually amplifies things until the lakes are frozen over.
Oh yeah.
So in a weird kind of way, it's actually better for us to have a cold winter and have those lakes freeze over than to have a mild winter where a snowstorm can blow over those lakes, pick up all that moisture, and drop it over us as snow. Does that make sense to you?
It makes sense.
Yeah, because
I mean,
it's basically the lakes affecting the weather. You got all this cold weather. This wind picks up the snow, the water, and just where I am, it's affected on both sides because to the east we have Lake Ontario, and to the west we have Lake Huron. So.
Yeah, I mean, you guys basically share those we both share the Greater Lakes.
Yeah. Only 4 of them. Lake Michigan is entirely in the state of Michigan.
Like a certain monkey.
Yeah. Yes. He's a Michiganite. Randy Monkey.
Yep. Although,
Yeah.
although part of my heritage does come from Canada.
Yeah.
My great grandmother was French Canadian, but she was from New Brunswick, St.
Yeah.
John's, New Brunswick.
Yeah, there's quite a few
French Canadians.
in New Brunswick. Yes, it's not quite as um, it's not quite as much by percentage of the population as Quebec. Like Quebec is, it's not 100% French, but
It's still a small population.
yeah, they want everybody to be French.
Ugh.
There's
That's-
it's possible to be English Anglophone in Quebec, but they're trying to do something about that.
Oh yeah, I know about the separatist government.
Yeah.
I've learned a lot about it. I've learned quite a bit of Canada thanks to JJ McCullough. I don't hate him. I'm indifferent about him. I do enjoy his content.
Yeah.
I mean, he's likable, so, but he's not full SJW.
Yeah. And Quebecers don't like him.
Nah. Especially since one fucker wants to make an excuse for keeping the French language, which, to be honest, is there really a point? No.
Oh,
No. It can be a part of your heritage, but a part of everyday life?
Yeah.
It's
well, you guys have a lot of French heritage in your country. Do you know the origin of the word Cajun?
no, but I do have a funny joke about it.
Okay, go on.
Is it Cajun if you cook it in a cage?
Oh, I don't know. Yeah,
I blame Tim Allen for that joke,
yeah,
but I'm not afraid to say it.
no.
He was funny.
Yeah, he is. He was. He doesn't do much live anymore. He did the Toy Story movies, but I haven't seen him live very much lately.
He still does Last Man Standing, although I don't know if that show is still around.
Yeah.
Let me check. I think it went all the way to Fox, which Disney owns Fox now. And the one thing before Fox was being purchased by Disney, they had over 300 projects, and one of the movies they were going to be working on was a movie about The Sims.
A Sims movie.
Yeah. And I'm wondering, why did you guys cancel that? That would have been more original than these live-action remakes.
Yeah. I don't know how good it would be, but at least it'd be original, and hey, maybe it would have been good.
Yeah, and you could hear live-action people say Simlish, even though it sounds like gibberish.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, I don't hate The Sims. It was pretty interesting. Still is.
Yeah. Go ahead.
What I love about The Sims?
Yeah.
Oh, the modding. What you could put in these games.
Yeah.
Imagine a Back to the Future mod.
Yeah. I've never played The Sims, but I like to play SimCity though.
SimCity's not too bad.
Yeah.
There's one game that is like SimCity.
Yeah, what's
but
that?
Not City Skylines. It's like SimCity 5, but without the always online DRM.
Oh. Yeah, that part is annoying.
I think Steam has it.
Yeah.
Let's see. Because it's a pretty fun game. Someone actually made an entire Los Santos map for it.
Oh, really?
Yep. Although people keep trying to although some people think Some people think, GTA 6 is going to be coming out in the next few years. Some people claim they have the game already, but they don't.
No.
More infamously, Fernando and not Point 4 Live. The
Yeah.
So, what games are you looking forward to this year?
I'm not really looking forward to any games right now. I'm playing still into WoW, and WoW Classic just came out recently. So
World of Warcraft.
yeah, the classic version. So that's pretty good.
I never played it because it was never my thing.
No, I used to play a couple. This is the second MMR massively multiplayer online role-playing game. The first one was called Dark Ages. So I'm not very I'm not into a wide variety of things.
I mean, same here, but I also like my racing games.
Yeah.
I mean, pretty much the only consoles I have at the moment are my, PlayStation 2, my PlayStation 3, and my Xbox One. And back in the day, I remember playing the original Xbox, and I'm thinking, can I get one of these consoles?
Yeah.
I mean, back in the day, people claimed it was the successor to the Sega Dreamcast, which is not too hard to think.
Have you ever played Nintendo games?
Not in a long time. I have a Wii, but
yeah,
I've heard you can actually hack it and turn it into a classic DOS gaming machine.
Oh yeah.
Imagine MS-DOS on the Nintendo Wii.
Yeah.
Although one of the this year, one of the thing, if I were to get another console or just something with classic games on it,
yeah,
it would be the remake of the Commodore 64 with a functional keyboard and Microsoft Basic.
Yeah, those were the days.
8-bit machines of the 6502 processor.
Yeah.
Texas Instruments still makes those.
Oh, really?
Uh-huh.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, that processor's like, 40 years old?
Yeah. Well, it worked back then, so.
And it's still pretty cheap.
Yeah.
I mean, you can get replacement CPUs now for the Commodore 64.
Yeah.
And not have to spend too much money, although C64s are getting older. Remember when memory was measured in kilobytes instead of just the terabytes and gigabytes we have now?
Yep, I remember that. When I went to school, we had floppy disks.
Oh yeah, the classic 3.5-inch and 5 1/4 inch.
Yep. The 3.5-inch floppy disks came later.
Oh yeah. And remember there were even larger sizes as big as 8 inches.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeesh.
I never had to deal with those ones.
The 5 1/4 inch were pretty interesting. Some of them can last a pretty long time if you take care of them.
Yeah. Have you ever watched The Big Bang Theory? Yeah.
I have.
Yeah.
It's not bad.
Sheldon had a list of all his enemies on a floppy drive.
Due to an original Tandy 1000. Although, in recent years, Tandy was brought back thanks to Radio Shack. Yeah, Radio Shack is back in a smaller capacity. Quite a few there are quite a few stores coming back online. Circuit City, Montgomery Wards.
Yeah.
Kind of ironic for Montgomery Ward since they started out in, since they basically started out in the same business.
Yeah.
You know,
Or what did you say?
well, I was trying to say they started out in the same business as Sears.
Oh yeah.
And now look at Sears. They went bankrupt in Canada, and they're close to doing it in the United States.
Yeah. They're
They
doing
sold,
doing rough there too, are they?
oh yeah, they sold off some of their brands to other stores like Craftsman to Lowe's.
Yeah.
Which is not bad. Craftsman, they were always good tools.
Yeah.
Good quality.
Yeah.
Not like the cheap Chinese shit we have now. Well,
Yeah.
actually, the Chinese are getting better.
Yeah.
Not all their stuff is crap.
No.
I mean, some of the stuff they make is pretty good quality.
Yeah.
Hopefully.
How's Target doing in your neck of the woods?
Not too bad.
Yeah.
I remember the infamous history of Target in Canada.
Yeah, they that was a very poorly planned out expansion. See, when
Yeah.
Walmart came to Canada, they did it smart. They did it slowly. They put a few stores in the big cities, and over the years, they built up their supply chain. They got people used to the fact that to their price point, because stuff in Canada is always more expensive than in the States. With Target, they just bought out a Canadian chain. They did some massive renovations, and they did not have the supply chain. They tried to sell Canadians all of this expensive stuff that Canadians were expecting the same kind of prices at Target Canada that Target in the United States has. That doesn't happen because of all kinds of reasons. I don't want to get too political, but for all kinds of reasons, things in Canada are more expensive.
Yeah.
Walmart had that same problem, but they expanded slowly, a lot more slowly into Canada, so that eventually people in Canada weren't comparing Walmart Canada to Walmart America. They were comparing Walmart Canada to our other department stores. Well, with Target in Canada, people were still comparing Target Canada to Target in the United States.
Mm-hmm.
With their crap supply chain, it fell apart.
Mm-hmm. I mean,
Yeah.
a lot of the older department stores, to survive, they just added grocery sections to their stores slowly over time.
Yeah.
I mean, Walmart and Target have done it. Kmart tried doing it, but
Yeah.
I mean, there are some decisions American companies have made that have been completely dumb.
Yeah.
I mean, in my opinion, one of the dumbest moves that NASCAR made was going away from the North Wilkesboro Speedway.
Yeah.
And just leaving it abandoned for 20 years. I mean, just a decade ago, they tried bringing racing back to the track after a restoration program.
Yeah. How'd that go?
Not too bad. The racing was pretty good, but
Yeah. Sometimes when you got something unique like that, you got to use it or you lose it. You just can't recreate it.
yeah, I mean, North Wilkesboro, even to its last days, it was still profitable.
Yeah.
Even though it's a tiny facility, it's small compared to a lot of its competition, on the Cup schedule.
Yeah.
It was still a relatively good track.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, one of the few tracks where a driver could lead lead most of the race and still lap the entire field.
Yeah.
Especially, man, watching a lot of the old races from that track was pretty interesting.
Yeah.
But the tracks that replaced it, New Hampshire and Texas,
Yeah.
ooh, Texas Motor Speedway's early years were a complete disaster because they had troubles when the track was being constructed. And,
Yeah.
and some of those tracks, and after the last minute adjustments the track had, they had to reconfigure the track a year later because of the issues after its first race.
Oh, really? It was
Oh,
that
yeah.
bad.
Oh, yeah. They had to spend millions just reconfiguring the track.
Huh.
And it blew up on them, and they were trying to expand into larger markets and try to engage the casual audience, which, let's be honest, compared to the NASCAR's hardcore fans, casual fans don't mean much.
No. The hardcore people of any sport or any product, they're the ones that'll they'll act as the base.
Oh, yeah. And there is a movement to potentially get North Wilkesboro restored in time before it becomes disrepairable. And people are trying to get one of the presidents of SMI, Marcus Smith, Burton Smith's son, to potentially get the track renovated and possibly just get one race date for it alongside Rockingham, because we've been wanting those tracks back on the Cup Series schedule for years.
Yeah.
Although North Wilkesboro has been waiting a lot longer than Rockingham has.
Yeah.
I mean, Nashville Fairgrounds, people wanted that, but that fell through.
Oh, really? What happened with that one?
Money went into other projects.
Oh, okay.
It's unfortunate, but
yeah, what can you do, right?
I mean, I'm hoping at least just one race date.
Yeah.
That's all. I mean, short track racing still produces good racing.
Yeah.
And they could even get smaller race dates for ARCA and even possibly the other divisions.
Yeah. What's ARCA?
It's another stock car racing organization that NASCAR bought out last year.
Oh, yeah. Oh, cool.
I mean, in ARCA, you could actually use old NASCAR Cup cars in the series.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Since ARCA and NASCAR were essentially sister series, but not really connected to each other not until fairly recently.
Oh, yeah.
And Frank Timmel, he has more championships in that series than Richard Petty has, or even Dale Sr. or Jimmy Johnson.
Okay. Yeah.
I mean, James Hilton competed in the championships, competed in ARCA right up until his 70s.
Okay. So, are they about the same then? Like
about the same, but smaller length. The
Yeah.
bigger races are still owned by NASCAR, like Daytona.
Yeah.
But ARCA does have its own tracks too.
Yeah.
At least to differentiate it a little bit.
Yeah.
Oh, and let's see, ARCA. And don't confuse it for ARCA OS.
No. What's the difference?
Oh, man. ARCA OS is basically just a modern day version of IBM's OS 2.
Okay.
It's not pretty much its main headquarters is in Toledo.
Okay.
I guess you have to be somewhere where you have to be somewhere.
Yeah.
And they did gain NASCAR's Canon Pro East and West divisions for next year, so
yeah,
we'll see what happens. Hopefully the racing's still good.
Mm-hmm.
Have you ever heard of Menards?
Menards, I heard the name. Is that a race?
No, it's a chain of stores.
Oh yes, yes, I've heard of it.
Menards is one of their famous stars is the Sun's founder, Paul Menard, who's been racing in the Cup Series for a number of years.
Oh yeah.
He earlier in the year he announced his retirement, surprisingly, and he's still going to be working for Wood Brothers Racing, helping out the new driver Matt DiBenedetto,
Oh yeah.
who lost his ride at Levine Family Racing because Joe Gibbs wanted to put another driver in his car, but wanted to be a little sneaky about it.
Oh yeah. One of those political moves, was it?
Yep. And if you know of Joe Gibbs,
Yeah.
you might have heard him coach for the Redskins.
Yeah. Yeah. Are you a fan of the Redskins, or are you a fan of a different team?
Different team, Carolina Panthers.
Yeah. Oh, cool.
Although I will cheer them on in the Super Bowl, even though they've only been in the Super Bowl twice. 2003 and 2005. Well,
Yeah.
2003 and 2015.
Yeah.
And they lost.
Cool. I mean, or not cool, I guess, if you're a fan of them.
Although Menards, they'll still continue to sponsor other teams throughout NASCAR. I mean, they don't just sponsor Paul Menard.
Yeah. So when you say they sponsor the team, they don't actually own the team. They just get to put their name on the car and
Yeah.
Yeah.
They sponsor the team. Just help fund the race team.
Yeah.
Pay for cars, everything.
Yeah. Put their branding on the sports jacket the driver wears.
Fire suit, yeah.
Yeah, the fire suit. Yeah.
And the helmet and everything else.
Yeah.
But it's not like they designed the cars to be bad looking. Nah.
No. I wish the city buses would do more of that. They have a bit of branding on them, a bit of advertising on them, but not like you see in race cars. They're not. I'm cheap, okay? I don't want to have to buy my own bus passes. If this is a bit of fantasy, but maybe if the city got enough advertising on those buses and bus shelters, maybe I wouldn't have to pay for my bus passes.
Mm-hmm.
That's wishful thinking, of course.
Oh yeah, I mean,
They still have to draw some money from bus passes and stuff, but
I haven't ridden the city bus in years.
yeah,
Well, ever since I lived in Durham.
like you're within walking distance everywhere.
Not really. It was for school. It was when I was in high school back in North Carolina.
Oh yeah,
I mean, up here in Virginia,
Yeah.
I have to be driven everywhere.
Yeah.
Let her up.
yeah,
I mean, if I had to use my bike, ooh, that would be a long ride.
yeah. That would suck.
At least I would get out and
Yeah.
exercise a little bit.
When I was a kid, I told you I grew up in a small town.
Oh yeah.
Small town is the town where I worked. It's about 15 kilometers. No, it's a 15-minute drive from where I live. It's about 20 kilometers. I don't know what that is in miles, but it takes about 15 minutes to drive there in a car.
Right around
highway
30 miles.
Yeah. At highway speeds, it's about 15 minutes between the two. But from time to time, I would ride my bicycle between the two communities. And I know people who would do that on a regular basis. So, but yeah,
Yep.
part of the reason I got myself my car license, I got myself a car is because I grew up in a small town. My mom didn't have her license, and she was on social assistance. She was raising me on social assistance. So
Social Security.
yeah, basically, yeah. So even if she had her license, there was no way that she would be able to afford a car. But she didn't even have her license anyway. So I was quite happy to get a car, because not having a car in a small town, as you're finding, is a real pain in the you know what.
Mm-hmm. Especially, especially if you're someone like me.
Yeah.
Who-
Yeah. Yeah.
Have you ever? See, I'm trying to look at Dominion of Canada, and the steam locomotive, not.
Yeah.
Oh wait, you never knew there was an LNER A4 in Canada before?
And a what? Come again?
LNER Grizzly A4 was it's a type of steam locomotive.
Sure. I'm not up on my trains, but
Oh man, if you've seen one of those in action,
yeah,
is a lot of fun.
especially. Yeah, go ahead.
Especially since they were the fastest steam locomotives in the world. 126 miles an hour.
It's I really should know my locomotives, because the city I grew up in, up until the 50s, was
Steam driven.
we actually had the repair shops for our national railway. At least the local shops for one of our national railways. So then that shut down. And that's never a good, because,
Oh, I found a picture of her and
a picture of what?
of the steam locomotive in question.
Oh, yeah.
An LNER Garter Blue. Wait a minute. That's an American style bell on her? Huh. Didn't notice that before. Or I could just paste the link. Excuse the stuttering like Porky. Porky Pig.
Ooh, that is a beautiful train.
She's one of two steam locomotive, English-made steam locomotives at the Canadian Railway Museum.
Yeah.
Built in the same location as Flying Scotsman.
Yeah.
Flying Scotsman's cousin, actually. One of two LNER A4s in North America, the other being Dwight D. Eisenhower, named after one of our former presidents.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Eisenhower, yeah.
If that train could talk, if that steam locomotive could talk, it'd probably have a Wisconsin accent, eh?
Yeah. That is a beautiful train.
At least it's not Thomas the Tank Engine. Well, even though I still have a love for that franchise, some of the changes they made. But I'm not getting into that.
No.
Although I would like to see those two steam locomotives running again, especially in the United States. Well, not yet. North America in general.
Yeah.
And hear those whistles blow again.
Yeah. I grew up about 2 blocks from the railway. Not a block and a half from the tracks. So I used to see them go by every day. And there was nothing between us, because Well, there was a lumber mill and an empty field. So basically nothing.
Except Walmart? Yeah, probably not.
Not when I grew up. Walmart is a late addition to Canada, relatively.
At least it's not called Wall to Walmart.
No.
Wasn't the store that Target bought out called Zellers?
Yeah.
Ooh.
Technically, they didn't buy out Zellers. They bought out the leases to the stores. Which don't ask me the difference. I guess it's...
There's not much of a difference.
No.
Although I've heard complaints about Canadian Tire, even though we don't have that.
Yeah.
They're similar to Home Depot and Lowe's.
Yeah.
I mean, they were the first sponsor for the NASCAR's Canadian Tire. Well, NASCAR's Canadian division when they bought out CASCAR.
Yeah.
And seeing some of the old CASCAR races, every time I hear them, I tend to go into a bit of a Canadian accent.
Yeah. That would have been a very logical deal for a Canadian Tire, because Canadian Tire, well, that's an automotive based store. They've expanded their product line over the years, but obviously they started in the automotive industry. Yeah, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah. So that.
Well, they did try to come into the United States a few times.
Did they? Yeah.
Oh, they weren't great.
Yeah.
The last time they exited the States was 95.
Yeah.
And the remaining stores were sold to Pet Boys.
Yeah, I believe that. Our stores don't seem to have a lot of success breaking into your market.
It's except Tim Hortons.
Yeah. Yeah. I understand that they've got been somewhat successful in New York anyway.
Oh, yeah. A lot of the coffee comes from New York.
Yeah.
Or as a lot of people with thick New York accents will call coffee.
Yeah.
Brooklyn. Oh man, thinking about the New York accent reminds me of Frank Fine.
Frank Fine.
Fran Fine from The Nanny.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Oh, Mr. Sheffield.
Oh, man. She had an annoying voice. That had to have been put on.
She has a thick Queen's accent.
Yeah.
And I'm not talking about just on TV.
Yeah. Well, the nasal part, she had to have exaggerated it, though, like the nasal part.
Yeah, I've heard her talk. Not exaggerated.
No?
Nope. A little, but not to the point of being annoying.
Yeah.
Ooh, and they sell Tim Hortons coffee online.
Oh, really? Yeah.
Oh, man. Even in Keurig.
Yeah. Yeah. They wanna get all the money that they can get.
Especially if they want to compete against Starbucks, which they're both overpriced.
Yeah. Timmy's is a bit is down market of Starbucks, but it's about as ubiquitous.
It's basically, it competes against like shops like Dunkin' Donuts.
Yeah.
Although,
You know those jokes about Starbucks leaving one Starbucks and having a Starbucks across the road?
Yeah.
You can make the same kind of jokes about Tim Hortons, or at least in Ontario. Yeah.
I've heard weird things about Ontario, like how you guys are the only province in Canada that get your milk in bags
How else would you want to buy your milk? And
and jugs.
yeah, like why would you want to buy your milk in a convenient plastic jug that has a handle? Like that makes no sense whatsoever. You got to buy your milk in a bag, in another bag that needs to be put into a pitcher and sliced open. Don't you have any sense?
Oh, I love your sarcasm.
Yeah. Although we can. What?
How many Tim Hortons are in the United States?
Oh.
Yeah. 4,304.
Huh.
Wait a minute, there are more Tim Hortons in the U.S. than there are in Canada? No, wait a minute, that's for... Oh. That's in total. 3,802 in Canada and 807 in the United States.
Okay,
What?
yeah. That number makes sense too.
29 in the Middle East? Why did they expand in the Middle East?
Probably at military bases.
Makes sense. Although, have you ever heard of creators like Matthew Santoro?
Yeah. I haven't seen any of his videos for ages. Have you been following him?
Somewhat. He's doing okay, but some of the views his videos get ooey. I'm so well. Actually, I would like to meet him one day. Although I wouldn't mind polishing that head of his.
Yeah.
I mean, he was pretty young when he lost his hair.
Yeah.
He probably said, "Screw you, man. We're going out to Florida."
Yeah.
If his hair went to Florida, would it become Florida hair?
Florida hair?
Yeah.
Yeah.
At least
All
it's not attached to a Florida man.
No. Anyway, I'm starting to get tired, so
Same here. We'll close out.
all right. Yeah, thanks for having me on.
No problem.
Yeah. Maybe we'll talk again sometime.
All right.
Yeah. All right.
And we are.